Keanu Reeves sees a pregnant woman working hard at a gas station, and her actions are very shocking. Keanu Reeves pulled into a dimly lit gas station on the outskirts of the city, the engine of his motorcycle humming beneath him. It was late, past midnight, and the streets were quiet. He had always enjoyed late-night rides. There was something peaceful about the open road when the world was asleep. As he stepped off his bike and removed his helmet, he noticed the gas station attendant behind the counter. She was a young woman, heavily pregnant, wearing a loose hoodie over her uniform. Despite her condition, she was moving quickly, wiping down shelves, restocking drinks, and working the register all at once. Keanu walked inside, grabbing a bottle of water and a protein bar before heading to the counter. "You work alone this late?" he asked, noticing how exhausted she looked. She barely glanced up as she scanned his items. "Yeah, my boss doesn't like paying for extra shifts." Keanu frowned. "Should you be doing all this heavy lifting?" She let out a tired laugh. "Tell that to my bills." Before he could respond, the doors burst open and two masked men rushed in, one holding a baseball bat, the other waving a gun. "Everybody down," one of them shouted. Keanu's body tensed, ready to act, but before he could move, the pregnant woman did something shocking. Without hesitation, she grabbed a steaming hot coffee pot from behind the counter and flung it at the man with the gun. The boiling liquid splashed across his arm, making him scream and drop the weapon. In the same motion, she reached under the counter, pulled out a taser, and zapped the second guy in the chest. The man with the gun stumbled back, cursing in pain, but she didn't give him a chance to recover. She leaped over the counter, pregnant and all, and delivered a powerful elbow to his jaw, sending him crashing to the floor. Keanu stood frozen for a second, utterly stunned. The whole thing had happened in under 10 seconds. As the men groaned on the floor, the woman casually picked up the phone and called the police. "Hey, it's me again," she said, completely unfazed. "Yeah, 2 more. No, I'm fine. Just send someone to pick them up." Keanu finally found his voice. "That was the most incredible thing I've ever seen." She shrugged. "Happens more often than you'd think." The police arrived within minutes, clearly familiar with her. One officer chuckled as they cuffed the criminals. "Another robbery attempt, that's the 4th one this month. You sure you don't want to be a cop?" She smirked. "Nah, I like the quiet life." Keanu Reeves, still in shock, shook his head in admiration. "You're a badass." She gave him a tired smile. "Yeah, but I still gotta finish my shift." As Keanu walked back to his bike, he couldn't stop grinning. He had come in expecting a simple gas station stop. Instead, he had just witnessed the most fearless pregnant woman on the planet take down 2 armed robbers like it was just another day at work. And as he rode off into the night, one thought stuck in his mind: Hollywood needs to hear about her. The next morning, Keanu couldn't shake the thought of the woman from the gas station. Her skill, her courage, it wasn't something you saw every day, let alone from someone heavily pregnant and working a late-night shift. He made a few calls, first to a friend in the stunt industry, then to a director he knew who was always looking for raw talent. "You won't believe what I saw last night," he told them. Meanwhile, at the gas station, the woman continued her shift as if nothing had happened. The police had already sent her a warning: "You really should stop handling robbers yourself." But she knew they secretly admired her. What choice did she have? This job barely covered her rent, and maternity leave wasn't exactly an option. That afternoon, as she was restocking shelves, her manager called her over. "Some Hollywood guy wants to talk to you," he said, looking skeptical. "Says he knows Keanu Reeves." She wiped her hands on her apron and walked out to the front. A sharply dressed man stood there smiling. "Are you the woman who took down 2 robbers last night?" She folded her arms. "Who's asking?" The man chuckled. "Let's just say someone who knows talent when he sees it." He handed her a card. "Keanu Reeves sent me. He thinks you might have a future in something a lot bigger than this gas station." She looked down at the card. It wasn't a scam. It wasn't a joke. It was an invitation. For the first time in a long time, she felt something unexpected, hope. And just like that, her life was about to change. A few days later, she found herself sitting in a sleek black SUV being driven to a film studio in Los Angeles. The city was a world away from the dull fluorescent lights of the gas station. She still couldn't believe this was happening. One moment she was tossing hot coffee at a robber, and the next, Keanu Reeves had sent Hollywood execs knocking at her door. As she stepped onto the studio lot, a rush of nerves hit her. What am I even doing here? She thought. She was just a gas station worker trying to make ends meet before her baby arrived. But then she remembered how she had taken down those criminals, without hesitation, without fear. Maybe, just maybe, she belonged here more than she realized. Keanu was waiting for her inside a large stunt training facility, casually dressed, sipping coffee. When he saw her, he smiled. Told you I had a few connections. She let out a nervous laugh. I still don't know why you're doing this. Keanu gestured around the room. Because people like you don't come around often. You've got real skill, real instincts. Hollywood spends years training actors to pretend to be tough. But you already are. A group of stunt coordinators watched from the sidelines. One of them, a grizzled veteran named Rick, walked up. All right, let's see what you can do. Before she could overthink it, they tossed her a padded baton and paired her with a stunt fighter. Just react naturally, Rick said. Show us how you'd handle yourself in a real fight. The stuntman made the first move, a quick lunge meant to test her reflexes. But she didn't just dodge, she countered, twisting his arm and flipping him onto the mat in one swift motion. The entire room went silent. Keanu grinned. Told you. By the end of the session, the stunt team was impressed. They saw her raw talent, her ability to think on her feet. She wasn't just good, she was special. Rick pulled her aside. If you want it, there's a place for you here. We can train you, get you certified. You'd start small, but with your instincts, you could go far. She hesitated. A part of her still clung to the life she knew, punching in for minimum wage, bracing for another long shift at the gas station. But then she thought of her unborn child. Didn't they deserve more? Didn't she deserve more? She looked at Keanu, who simply nodded. When opportunity knocks, open the door. She took a deep breath and smiled. All right, let's do this. And with that, the woman who once fought off robbers at a gas station took her first step into a brand new life. One filled with action, excitement, and a future she had never imagined.